Hey, good morning everybody. How you doing? We're here in Hardyville, South Carolina. It's about 20 miles north of Savannah, and we're getting ready to get the show of wheels on the way here and head down to the port and pick up a couple stretch pieces with a few other drivers. I told you that at some point we would end up doing a run with Joe, and here's that day. So we got Joe, ourselves, and then another driver, Sammy. And we've all got some of the Manax stretches that you've seen us run before, and we're gonna stretch these suckers out and put a 73-foot long, 12-foot wide skid on it. Pretty much, it's a modular skid that we'll put on, and we'll run them up to South Carolina, and then home for the 4th of July weekend. So stay tuned. All right, so I'm not sure if any of you guys have ever gone over and checked out Joe's channel. Joe is the person that is mentoring me into, what we've been doing here with the multi-axle flats in the heavy haul world. This isn't the normal trailer he pulls. This is one of his trailers, though. This, you've seen us do a load with these. We did a couple ship shafts, those propeller shafts, down to Pascagoula, Mississippi. We only stretched it, I think, like 5 feet on that one. So this one, we'll be stretching ours out. We're all kind of loading these pieces a little bit differently, but we'll be stretching ours out 20 feet. So we'll be overall length of 102 feet. Like I said, 12 feet wide, and these pieces are only, the paperwork says 4 foot 4 inches tall. So not tall, but a little bit wide and a little bit long. Like I said, these trailers have the ability to open up to give you 90 feet. So anyways, go over, check out his channel. I'll throw a link in the description below. And here he comes walking over here. Yep. Stretch.
Let's get up there. Let's bring in the eye. Here we go.
Just got a message from one of my old high school teachers. Apparently her brother works at Landstar as an agent, and she was just telling me about it. She survived my rambunctious little self in class while I was in high school. So
Oh, is that who did that comment? I
Yeah.
thought Dustin gave you his agent code. That's better.
I think we've worked for him. Sid, SID.
That sounds really familiar. Like maybe he's like he's one of the guys that stuff like pipes on that.
Joe's over there on the phone. The guy pretty much lives on the phone. I guess you kind of have to if you're swindling the kind of things that he's swinging in this world, but I don't think Sammy's here yet. I think Sammy's still getting dressed. Someone probably had to teach him how to tie a tie. But a little bit about Joe's truck. I don't think that his video or his channel actually tells you anything about his truck. Obviously you saw it looks pretty much identical to ours. His is a tri-drive though, so all 3 of his axles are live and on the ground all the time back there. He's got the same float that we have up front, the same wheels and tires. His is a glider though, built DMB glider kit. It's got a Cat C16 in it, 18-speed transmission, and I can't remember what his rear ends were. I want to say like a low 400s rear end. Might be high 300s, so like 390 something, because he still gets down the road pretty dang good for that spec of a truck. But And then, you know, his normal trailer that he pulls currently is a 5-axle flatbed. I'm sure you guys have seen that. It's that's a Fontaine. What the hell's the name of that trailer? The Phantom. It's a Phantom series from Fontaine that's also been custom built. That thing's just astronomically strong. It's ridiculous. That's what he pulls normally. Like I said, you know, all three of us here now are under the Manac 53 to 90 foot stretches for these loads. And yeah, so we'll load these pieces. Joe and Sammy are going somewhere in Georgia, and we are running up to South Carolina. So we'll load together and kind of hang out and, you know, bullshit around until our pilot cars show up and whatnot, and then we'll go our separate ways. Our trip is about 175 miles or so, I think. We haven't ran our routed miles yet. The trip is 175 miles as the car drives, but as the permit reads, we haven't really run that route yet. So anyways, we'll get our load time is 1500, 3 p.m. It's about 10:45 now. We're gonna go down there, be there a little bit early in case the crane crews are running, you know, ahead of schedule. We had to check out of the hotel by 11 anyways. So anyways, we're gonna go down there and just kind of hang out, and we'll all get under the crane. I think we're supposed to load at 3. Joe's supposed to load at 4. Somebody else is loading at 5, and Sammy's supposed to load at 6. So I'm sure none of that will actually play out the way it's supposed to, because it rarely ever does, but at least they have a plan. So, you know, we'll keep you updated as the day goes on, and I'll give you some good shots of it. If not loading it, at least what it is on the trailer when we shut down tonight. We're thinking, because of how late we're loading and our permit restrictions, we're not going to be able to go very far. We'll probably load and come right back up to one exit south of where we are, exit 5 in South Carolina, and we'll probably shut it down. There's a nice sized truck stop there. We'll shut down for the night, and then leave out at first lift a restriction in the morning, and get this thing over to its final destination. So hope you guys are having a good day. Sorry it's been so long since I've done a video, and we'll talk to you soon. No permit or no escort. So we've only got like 6 miles in Georgia, and Georgia has an escort on us. And the way pilot cars work is, if it's less than a certain amount of mileage, you end up paying what they call a mini or a day rate. So it's like a flat rate of, we'll just say $250 for a day, for them to come out and run you a short distance. Since we have to pay that, and since the 175 miles would be less than what a day rate would pay that escort, that pilot, I'm sorry, we're probably just going to keep him in South Carolina. You know, our permit doesn't have us requiring an escort in South Carolina, but 102 feet long, 12 feet wide, it never hurts to have an extra set of eyes, and we have to have him anyways to the South Carolina-Georgia state line, so may as well keep him for the next, you know, 160 miles. Why not? Better safe than sorry. Last thing you want to go is dinking something on the side of the road after you've just cut your pilot car loose. You know, better safe than sorry, right? We got Georgia. Sign these puppies.
It'll be a special moment indeed.
Yeah, I'm gonna swing out and take it. towards the gate.
I got a beat on you.
Well, that's a big sucker coming out, whatever that was.
This is reminiscent of something, but I've never been here. This looks similar to neighborhood in the port of Miami, though.
No, I've never been down there.
Hey, Joe, you go down there, do you have to grease old Tony Montana? Keep your truck safe? I ain't scared.
Well, that's those are what we're getting. Yep.
They did a good job of hiding this place.
Yep. So we are on the road headed home for the 4th of July holiday. I was going to record this parts of loading, and then I knew I wasn't going to be getting any footage of unloading because of where this piece was going. I was going to try and get pictures of it while at the truck stop last night, and to kind of give you a little walk around. We got there early enough to do it, but about a mile from the exit, the skies opened up and it just became a torrential downpour until nightfall. So I didn't really feel like taking a second shower, and yeah, so I didn't get any footage of it. What it was, now, it wouldn't have really looked cool anyways because it was under their own tarp, I guess you would call it. It was like a big blue, I don't know, like a Walmart tarp, almost a little bit stronger, that covered the whole piece. But it was 73 feet long, it was 12 feet wide, 4 feet tall, and they said it weighed 60,000. It was probably right about 60,000. We were stretched out. We had this trailer just stretched out 10 feet. We decided to cut down our stretch and stick some overhang over the back. So we only extended the trailer out 10 feet. So the trailer was 63 feet with 7 feet of rear overhang, or 7 feet, 7 inches of rear overhang, and about 16 inches on the front, give or take. So our overall length was right at 100 feet. We met our escort yesterday when we left the port, and he ran us up all of 12 miles to the truck stop. We sat there last night. We didn't technically need him in South Carolina, but he was already there. We'd already paid for having him show up, so we may as well use him. And on something like this, you know, I'd prefer to have a second set of eyes. Call it what you want, call it overly cautious, call it inexperienced, whatever you want to call it. Another pair of eyes is never a bad thing when you're 100 feet long and 12 feet wide and going down some of these back roads. And in retrospect, I'm really glad we had him, because the route that the company gave us to take was, I mean, they put us on a back road that was a 2-lane road with 10-foot lanes, very windy. So it wasn't really that great of a route, and if we ever do one of these again, we're going to permit our own route. That's a much safer route, but what can you do? So anyways, that's why you didn't see anything get loaded or unloaded or whatnot. But a little bit about what this is. Now, it's kind of cool. We went to, I can tell you what it is. This isn't like a big top secret thing. It went to a nuclear power plant, so, or construction site. This is a nuclear power plant that is being built. They're still years and years away from being into production. You know, they're laying all the groundwork. They've got a lot of the cooling towers are up. They've got, you know, the reactor domes all being built, just shit like that. If you've ever seen a nuclear power plant, you know they're pretty massive facilities. They take a lot of engineering so that everything runs safely when it's actually producing power. These, for a lack of better explanation, are modular. They're frame sections that get pieced together like a puzzle in a massive building, and then the inside of the frame is empty. And when they assemble these things into whatever shape they go into, they pump the entire thing full of concrete. What that is for is these buildings that they make out of them are where like the control units are, where the personnel who monitor the reactors or whatever it is they monitor, these are the exterior walls. So in theory, these walls help prevent your next Chernobyl. You know, nuclear waste, or not waste, but if something like Chernobyl happened where a reactor melted down and it began to leak, these would help insulate the people from
those negative effects of the radiation and stuff. If you know anything about Chernobyl, what they ended up doing was when the reactor melted down and they evacuated the town, they built like a massive concrete dome over like the whole place, pretty much over the reactor to seal in all of that until it's, whatever they call it, a half-life or whatever is expired and it's livable again. These are kind of like preventive of that. So if something happens, these will prevent it from escaping before it gets to the point of like a Chernobyl event. So this was just one of many sections. When I say these things are assembled, they're craned in. Well, they're craned onto a Goldhofer, and a Goldhofer drags them into the building, and then a big crane stands these things up, puts them into the form. They've got like a big template of these walls, and they piece them together. They weld everything together. They pump it full of concrete, and then they move it as an entirety. They move this entire walled building section to where it's actually going to be. And I'm looking at this building. This building's got to be every bit of 12 stories tall. And I'm going, well, how the hell do they get this thing out of there? So I asked the guy, I said, so what do you do once it's built? Is there a door? How do you get it from here to the place that it actually is going to sit? And he said, oh, we're going to cut that freaking wall out. Just cut a hole in the wall. They'll pull the thing out, and then they'll fix the wall. And they do that every time they have to put one of these buildings up. They build it, cut a hole in the wall, pull it out, set it, patch the big hole in the wall, and then do it all over again. So there you go. So that's about it for this load. There was nothing really special. I would say I have one picture of it, but you really can't see anything of it. It's of the cranes that were about to lift it on us at the port. But it was a smooth run. We picked it up in Savannah yesterday. They actually were able to load us quite a bit earlier than we expected. So we got loaded, and we actually got out of there about 3:30 or so, and they weren't expecting us until this morning, so we found a place to stop. And then, yeah, we ran it up the rest of the way this morning. We had like 170 miles to go, and we woke up and ran it up there, and that was it. So we left there, closed up the trailer, put everything away, left there, had to go get gas because it was about as low as I've ever run the truck on gas, and get some food, and we just left, and now we're on our way back to the home. We're 140 miles from the house, so go home, spend the weekend, and then next week we move our next piece, which is another 107,000 pound rotor out of Savannah up to Charlotte. So yeah, I will actually get a video of that one. I promise you I will film that one. Rain or shine, snow or whatever else the expression, we will film that load. So anyways, in the meantime, what I'm going to do is I asked you guys to throw some questions in the comments, and a lot of you guys responded. A lot of them are also questions that I don't necessarily need to do an entire video about, so I'm going to go through and answer a few of the questions that I get asked the most. First and foremost, the tie. Holy shit, do I get a lot of questions on the tie. We must have had 6 people, no less than 6 people today at the job site go, what are y'all doing in a tie? I've never seen a trucker in a tie. Yeah, well, that's kind of the point. More so, we view ourselves as business owners before truck drivers. Yes, my business happens to be driving a truck, but just like any business owner, this is my baby. If you own a sports memorabilia shop, or a gardening freaking store, you're going to spend money on your store. You're going to make it look good and appealing and attractive and want to draw in customers, and that's what we do. Call it a gimmick, call it what you want. It attracts attention, and it definitely starts conversations, and it automatically gives the perception of this guy is willing to go the extra mile. And that's what we want our customers to know is like, hey, we take ourselves seriously. Maybe this is on the extreme end of the spectrum, but we take ourselves seriously and we take our job seriously, and we're going to take very seriously everything involved in moving your piece, whatever it may be. So that's that. And then secondly, the residual side effect, and one of the side effects we're going for is raising the bar a little bit. I don't ever expect the trucking industry to be, you know, a white collar industry. There's a lot of hard work out here. There's long hours. It's not that kind of industry. It's never been a white collar industry, but the trucking industry has fallen so far from where it used to be and where it could be if we all just respected ourselves as drivers a little bit more. You know, there are drivers out here that probably have not done laundry in this fiscal year. And in this fiscal year, there's drivers out there that you can probably count the number of showers they've taken on one hand. And that's the shit that we gotta knock off. And those people, I doubt you'll ever see them wearing a shirt and tie. But for the new people that come in, you know, they see us and we hope to set a better example. I don't think that we'll ever change the industry, but I sure as shit hope we can leave a mark, or even better, a little dent in our little slice of what we do. So that should answer the tie question. You know, hopefully people watch this far, so I don't have to keep answering that question, but I will, because I know it's a question I field every single day. So yeah, the tie. Boom, done. Next question would be, why did we choose Landstar? Why did we choose Landstar? So, when I was younger and my dad was in driving, and even after he was out of driving, I always paid attention to the driving world, like the trucking industry. And there was one thing I always noticed about Landstar trucks is they were always the guys that were pretty much the top of the game. There weren't a lot of them. I mean, there were a lot of them, but there weren't a ton of them. They weren't just some cookie cutter company. And that blue star on the side of the truck carries a lot of weight. A lot of drivers wanted to work really hard to be able to work for Landstar or with Landstar. And so when I started driving in 2013, you know, I just decided that someday I'd like to do heavy haul over at Landstar, because I felt like that was the place that I had the best opportunity for advancement and to really show what I could bring to the table. And then when we had enough of our old truck, we bought this truck, which was too long to lease onto the company we were already with, Werner. And that pretty much was a sign. It said, you know what? This is it. This is the time. Let's just go ahead and pull our lease from Werner, and we applied at Landstar and leased the truck on, and the rest is history. So that's why Landstar. That's how we ended up here. And I love Landstar. You know, everybody, if there was one perfect company out there, we'd all be working for them. So take that for what it is. Every company has its downfalls. Every company has its redeeming qualities. And that's something that people need to realize, is you're never going to find that one company that has every single detail and thing that you want out of a career or whatever. You've just got to find the company that works best for you. For me, it's Landstar. For somebody else, it might be, you know, CR England or Swift. I don't know. It's different for everybody. So, you know, I get a lot of questions on, hey, where should I go? How should I start my career? Start your career somewhere that's in the line of where you want to go. If you want to be a flatbed driver, start with a flatbed company. Start getting that experience. If you want to be a reefer driver, start driving a van or a reefer, whatever. You know, find out what it is you want to do. Find out what company is at the top of that game, and then focus your efforts on what it will take to get in the door there. So yeah, that's how and that's why Landstar, and a little bit of unsolicited advice. So the next thing was, why this flatbed, and have we ever considered a RGN or a double drop or a step deck? Yes, we have. Before we got under the Ravens trailer, the 4-axle flat that you guys know so well, I was actually looking at buying a 3-axle step deck. Not a low pro, but just a 3-axle step deck, because I was seeing that you could make some good money doing step deck work. But I was also green. I didn't really know the industry very well. And I'm still very green in the industry, so I had no clue that I could come out here and do what I'm doing with a 4-axle flatbed. I didn't even know 4-axle flatbeds existed outside of Michigan and like freaking Oregon. So, you know, yes, we've considered them. For a period of time, I was even looking at an RGN, because that's really what I wanted when I thought of heavy haul back in the day. When I thought heavy haul, I thought RGN. You know, I thought the big 13, 19 axle guys, and that was the stuff I wanted to do. So I was looking into RGNs and double drops, and those didn't really suit my fancy for what I was seeing here at the time. So I was going to go with the step deck, and then this happened, and it's completely changed my outlook on everything. So I am not here to tell anybody which trailer is best for who, because I've only ever pulled this 4-axle flatbed, or an extendable trailer. I know a lot of guys here at Landstar that absolutely love their extendable RGNs, that like their company 3-axle extendable RGNs. Absolutely love them. And they do very well with them. And then I know guys that sink. There's the one thing that about Landstar is they give you every opportunity and avenue to succeed. And then they also give you enough rope to hang yourself. And a lot of drivers come over here and they have a long list of things they won't do, and they hang themselves. They won't run the Northeast, they won't run the Midwest, they won't put over 30,000 pounds on the trailer, they won't run tolls unless they're 100% paid for, they won't run into Florida, they won't run into Canada, they won't run over to Laredo. If you're one of those guys, Landstar is not the place for you, man. In fact, if you're one of those guys, trucking ain't the world for you, because at the end of the day, we're here to make money. If you're not willing to go where the money is, then you need to find some other work, to be completely honest with you. That's how I run my business, and that's how I would recommend you run your business. If you're going to do something, do it. If you're going to come out here to make money, come out here to make money. Go where that money takes you. So, next question, another truck question that I field a lot. What is the engine, the transmission, the differential, and the horsepower and all that good stuff? And have we ever thought about or planned on tuning it? Okay, it is a 2013 Kenworth. It has a Cummins ISX in it. It is, I think they call it a 515 horsepower, but actually it's set at about 460 or so. But it's got a shit ton of torque. It is hooked to an Eaton Fuller 13-speed transmission. Nothing special. We did have the aftermarket 2080 foot-pound clutch put in. The differentials are 370 rear ends. There's no specialness there. And the tune, have we ever considered doing it? Now this is a 2013, so it does have DEF and DPF on it, so it's difficult to tune with that on there. Have I ever thought about deleting that? That is illegal. We'll leave it at that. Yeah, moving on. How do we pick our loads? Well, in a perfect world, our loads pick us. We field a lot of phone calls. I won't say a lot. We field phone calls from agents that are requesting, pieces to be moved, so I haven't pulled a load off the load board in quite some time. When I was looking at the load board, and this follows back to being here to make money. My sole purpose is to make money here. Bottom line. I had, if anybody's familiar with the Landstar load board, I had one search, and it's called the Show Me the Money search. And pretty much, you clear everything, and you hit search. I mean, I put in a dollar amount. I put in at a minimum of $4 a mile, and then I click search, and I see what's out there for $4 a mile. I don't care where it is. I don't care what trailer they say it's supposed to go on. I know what can work on my trailer. Agents, if you're an agent and you're watching this, I'm sorry, but a lot of you guys have no freaking clue what can be done on equipment other than an RGN. And if you're an RGN guy, I'm sorry for raining on your parade, but it's true. There's a lot of freight out there that is listed on the Landstar system for one specific type of trailer when any number of 30 trailers can haul that load. And if you are not searching openly, you're never going to find that load. So we use the Show Me the Money search. It's completely blank with $4 a mile search. Boom. Show me where it's at. If it's good enough for me, I'll go get it. I'm one of those drivers, I don't give a shit about deadheading. If I gotta go 600 or 700 miles for a load that's gonna pay me, $20, $25 a mile, 15, 20, whatever, that's a worthy investment of my time and fuel. And at the end of the day, it works out for us. Maybe it doesn't work for you. I don't know why it wouldn't, but if it doesn't, it doesn't. That's fine. I'm not gonna judge you. You're going to judge me because I deadhead everywhere. We'll easily run 50% deadhead this year. But at the end of the year, it pays off. So, that's how I pick my loads. Just look at it and call and talk to them and find out what the piece is and find out where it's going and what kind of equipment they have to load it. Just all the information you'll learn as you start driving, the questions to ask, and just go after it, man. If it's something that interests you, go after it. Don't let something as trivial as 50 miles outside of your comfortable deadhead range prevent you from getting a load that interests you. Come on. Fuck. So, okay. Moving on. Last question I'm going to field is about equipment also. It is about our tires. What tires do we run? How do we pick them? Or why? We'll start with the tractor. Our steer tires, our Bridgestone M860s in 315, 80, 22.5s. How do we pick those? And the wheels are the Alcoa 22x5x9, 9 wide with a +0.3 offset, I think it was. Why did we choose those? Complete honesty, because they look freaking cool. That's it. We don't have a heavy front end. We don't have anything fancy up there. We can't transfer weight. When we load those 107,000 pound rotors, when we are completely empty, we're 11.7 on our steers. When we load those rotors, we're 11.3 on the steers. So unless we get a flip neck and some sort of reason to crank up onto the catwalk almost, we can't transfer weight up there. So they just look cool. It makes the truck look beastly like a heavy haul truck. Appearances are everything. Drive tires. So our two live drive axles, the front two, the first and middle axle, are Bridgestone M726s. We don't like the Chinese brands. Nothing against you if you're Chinese. We don't like the cheap Asian brands because they tend to fall apart. And when you're doing heavy haul, you got a lot of weight, a lot of freaking stress on these tires. So we chose those. they have really good knobs, but really good road quality, so they get good traction off-road. But they're nice ride on the road, so that's why we chose those. We like them. We have no problem with them. We will buy them again. Our third axle is an all-position tire, and there's a reason for that. It is the Bridgestone Imp 710. Why we have one all-position tire back there? Because that tire does not drive, so I do not need grip traction. I do not need that tire to be able to bite into mud and claw me out of place. I need it to hold me to the road. And I also need it to have enough. I also need it to be able to slide, because that is our axle that drags the most. Our front axle does do some good dragging when we get into a good turn, but it's the back axle mostly that takes the brunt of the middle axle being the pivot point, the front and the rear pivoting around that. That is why we have an all position back there. You know, if we get into a situation where we need traction, I dump the air on that rear axle and it puts all the weight on our two drive axles. I lock in the axles, and those two axles to this point have been more than enough to get us out of any situation that we need to be in. So yeah, I don't have any real opinion on that tire. I mean, it's good, it's held up, and it's Bridgestone. So we've got Bridgestones all around on the tractor. The trailer has Continental HSR2 16-ply all-position tires on all the wheels. And I have to say that those are probably some of the best tires that I've ever seen. The tires on our trailer have close to, I'd say they're about 75,000 miles on them, heavy haul miles, and they look as good as new. And I am telling you, when we have 100,000 pounds on the deck and we get banked into a corner real good, you'll watch that tire roll up under there, and you'll watch the backside pull out as it's dragging along, and then straighten it out and it rolls back, and the sidewalls are just fine. And they're just impressively strong tires, and that is why we chose the 16-ply Continental HSR2s. Actually, Joe chose those, but that is why we have chosen to stay with them. So yeah, that's that. As far as any other questions, I still am planning on doing videos to respond to a few of your questions. There are some people asking for permit videos, as I've talked about before. I will get a video of us ordering permits and everything that goes into that whole process. Driving, you already just saw some driving footage, so yeah. Vlogging, not sure if I'll ever truly vlog. I don't feel like rambling to a camera. I completely honestly would rather crank up my music and, you know, jam out to George Strait or Lil Wayne or whoever the hell is on the damn radio at the time. So yeah, like I said, you know, if you guys have any more questions, feel free to put them in the comments. I am slow while we're busy, but I promise you, if you leave a comment, I will get by to responding to you. So if you've left a comment and I have not responded to you yet, I'm sorry, but I promise I will get to you. So anyways, I am now going to turn up. Let's see who's on the radio. Who's on the radio? Oh, wow. Before YouTube kicks me off.